episode of Family. Gear up for the deal on wheels your family is eyeing. Why Mimi Gay is all for working for the man you marry. And just how to tell the truth about life to your child. Coming right up. Hi, welcome to another episode of Family. Isn't she cute? I love dogs. And I think my daughters take after me because they've been asking me for one to call their own. So you want to come home with me? But you know, having a pet also means having to deal with losing it one day. So how do we prepare our children for such loss? As much as we say we are prepared for it, when we come face to face with loss, we are often lost. 9-year-old Aaron recently had to say farewell to a good friend. And as he and his family found out, losing something close to your heart can be painful, even if it's something tiny and fishy.
We have this one pet fish that he got attached because we got it really, really small. And when it started to grow, and every day he would go there, feed, play with the fish. When the fish was real sick one time, he was quite upset. He wrote a conversation about his pet in school. And he said, my pet fish at home was very sick. And I feel really, really sad about it. I'm really hoping that the fish will get well soon and the fish would start eating again. But unfortunately, the fish didn't get well. And we have to let go of the fish. He was really, really upset. He was talking over and over again. He was asking a lot of questions. Why is the fish like that? Why the fish is not recovering?
The stress and pain that comes as a result of loss can develop into a serious emotional crisis in adults, and more so in a child. The young person usually has trouble accepting loss and won't know what to do with the pain and grief. Insecurity follows quickly, and it's not uncommon to find the child confused and disorientated about the changes taking place around them. Depending on age and personality, no one child handles grief and loss alike.
The first thing is parents need to be sensitive and be aware. The second thing I think parents can do, of course, is to be able to talk to the child openly and honestly about this particular event. Some parents are afraid to talk about bereavement processes because they're worried that the child may not be able to accept it, may not be able to take it, or they fear the consequences of such a discussion. But from a psychological point of view, it's actually the opposite, because I think it is an opportunity for the child to learn. It's an opportunity for the child to be able to deal with really what we call part and parcel of human experiences in their life.
But try explaining the cycle of life to a child who can't even grasp the concept of birth, let alone death.
I think the most challenging thing is that to make them understand why is it that the person sleeps and never wakes up. It's really tough because they say, why is this person not waking up? Why is this person not there for me anymore? So it's very challenging to let them understand that there is different process in life. And it takes a lot of counseling to make them understand what is life, what is death. And it's a lot of sitting down, talking. It's endless. You have to keep on actually reinforcing them.
Finding the right words to communicate with your child can leave you speechless, literally. But instead of fumbling for words, try honesty, which in this case may be the best policy.
I think it is important that parents do talk to the child about it. They should be honest and open. But it is important to use the correct language. And I think the correct language really depends on the age of the child. A child who is much younger requires a different sets of language. For example, we talk about someone being with in heaven, and being able to be close to God, for example, rather than to talk about what the processes of physiological changes like the heart stop and things like that. So I think the appropriate language is very important. As the child grows older, then obviously the language needs to change and they need to then adjust accordingly.
Morbid as it might sound, it's good to talk about death early on to prepare the child for loss eventually.
This is a way to prepare the child, to help the child to be psychologically ready if indeed a loss will do occur in the family at some point in time in the future. When you actually talk about it, I think you're really helping the child to understand. First of all, I think that life is a process. You help the child to understand his or her own emotion. And obviously, while Sparky is still jumping around, you may not be able to get a child to see it completely, but certainly you can actually point to other people's pet dogs or other experiences similar to that and relate that to the child, help the child to understand, so that when the time comes, they are not really flawed.
Sometimes the lesson about life and loss can come unexpectedly. Aaron made his discovery when someone he loved very much gave an honest assessment of herself.
One day, the granny was quite upset about him because he was very mischievous. So granny was so upset that he told him, he's like, you know, Aaron, if one day if I'm not around, you know, I won't be around forever, you know. And then if I'm not around, you know, you're going to regret, you know, you don't listen to what my granny says, and, you know, then it just struck him as, oh, granny's not going to be here. What I'm going to do? And he quietly went to the room and started crying. And the granny went to the room with the brother, the younger brother. They said, what happened? Then the brother told a little secret. They said, oh, you know, this is what happened. Then the younger one started crying also. Both of them was willing, oh, granny's going to die, granny's going to die. And then the grandma was quite feel sad about it. Said, no, I'm not going to die now. But it's good that you understand that I will not be here forever. You should treasure what happened. You know, you should listen to what I say.
Aaron is now wiser to the fact of life, but he isn't dwelling on it thanks to his newfound Finn friends. Being in good spirits is a sign of recovery, but experts say watch out for signs that hint things may not be as they seem.
I think sometimes children may seem superficially quite happy and cheerful, but that does not necessarily mean they don't actually experience a loss. The child probably try to, if you like, minimize those feelings for a period of time. But then as the child become more and more emotional and are no longer able to contain those feelings, it really came out perhaps in a change of his behavior, becoming more sad, clingy, withdrawn.
So have a listening ear, a soft shoulder or two, and the heart to be a friend to your child.
I think the worst thing is to tell lies to a kid, no matter how young they are. I guess this is something that is part and parcel of life, and if you tell them a lie and they grow up with that lie. So it's important to tell them to be honest in some ways, because I don't think they can empathize with the whole situation, but yet give them with a pinch of salt.
There is no substitute for a good parent-child relationship, and I think a lot of parents need to put in the time and effort, because when you invest the time and effort to build the relationship between the child and the parents, it is only when that relationship is very, very secure that the child at the times of need will turn to the parents for help.
It's the little things that mean so much to children, but as adults we tend to forget that all too easily. But we have to move on in life and everything else, so stay around. And coming up next, does it pay to work with your husband? Our personality this week, Mimigay, tells us, and that's coming right up in a few minutes.